Mike Johnson no longer has a job. But what revolting Republicans in the House want to take from him is the last little bit of dignity he has left. If Mike Johnson has any, for that matter, because considering he's a puppet of Donald Trump, I don't really think there is any substance inside of him. But right now, the House Republican caucus is in complete collapse. It is so bad that members of Congress are publicly going on the record to attack Mike Johnson as he is unemployed. We are going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, we were really thinking that it was going to take till after the midterms for Mike Johnson to be unable to operate the House. It's happening right now, though, but those midterms look even worse. With some breaking news coming out of California, it's great news for Gavin Newsom. Federal judge upholds California's new congressional map. A panel in Los Angeles sided with Governor Gavin Newsom in a decision that will help Democrats counter Republican gerrymandering in Texas. Republicans are expected to appeal. A federal court on Wednesday rejected Republicans' claim that California's new congressional maps were unconstitutional, upholding a voter-approved plan intended to benefit Democrats in this year's midterm elections. Two judges in a three-judge panel in Los Angeles sided with Governor Gavin Newsom and fellow Democrats in Congress, who argued that the maps were drawn purely to give their party an advantage in reaction to a similar gerrymander by Texas Republicans. The ruling shot down arguments by the California Republican Party and the Trump administration that the maps approved in a November ballot measure, Proposition 50, amounted to a racial gerrymander that focused on favoring Latinos over other groups of voters. The evidence presented reflects that Proposition 50 was exactly what it was billed as, a political gerrymander designed to flip 5 Republican-held seats to the Democrats, a district judge wrote in the majority opinion. Judge Stanton, an appointee of President Barack Obama, said that Republicans had pointed to multiple statements showing that the mapmaker and some lawmakers were cognizant of the racial composition of the districts. But she said that was not enough to show that race was the predominant factor in creating the maps. So Republicans were desperate, oh so desperate, to strike down Gavin Newsom's maps. Oh my God, it's a gerrymander. It's not like Donald Trump explicitly told Greg Abbott to do exactly that, and they went past the will of the people. And it's not like Gavin Newsom got voters, oh my God, I'm going to cry, to approve a map of their districts. It's exactly what happened. It's just nonsensical. And Mike Johnson's scrambling right now before we get to Republicans attacking him. I want to show how he's trying to frame the midterms right now. What's Mike's messaging? Take a look.
The argument's a hoax, as the president has said.
Well, no, what the president's referring to when he calls it a hoax is the Democrats' spin. It is Bidenomics that got us into this mess. It is Bidenomics, the outrageous spending levels that drove inflation to 40-year highs. That's why prices are up. Now, we got to work on it immediately in January when Republicans took over the Congress, the House, the Senate, and the White House, and we did exactly what we said we were going to do: bring down inflation, cut taxes, and grow the economy. And that's what all the indicators are saying now. Inflation is going down, gas prices at a 5-year low, the growth rate over 5%. That would have been unimaginable. Even the economists, even conservative economists, didn't think that was possible. But it is evidence, Bill, that when our policies are implemented, they work. So Trump policies, Republican policies are doing right by the American people, and they're going to reward that at the ballot box in this upcoming midterm election in November.
Oh, when Donald Trump said that affordability, the biggest issue facing this country right now, is a hoax. He didn't actually mean it that way. What he really meant is that Democrats who are putting forward real solutions to address the affordability crisis nationwide, like Zoran Mamdani advancing universal child care less than 2 weeks into his administration, don't actually believe what they're saying. Apparently, in Trump's world, those efforts are fake. But Mike Johnson is somehow the one we're supposed to take seriously. You know, the same Mike Johnson who helped kick more than 20 million people off their health care. Fantastic. And while all of this is happening, Democrats are taking advantage of the moment to call Mike Johnson out, even as Republicans are starting to do the same. So before we get into what Republicans are saying, let's first listen to AOC.
Thank you. Congresswoman, I've asked you about ICE for years, and you've always been very consistent in your opposition to ICE. Why do you think it's so hard for some people, I guess, on the internet to just accept that you have always been for abolishing ICE and, as I understand it, the Department of Homeland Security?
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. People are like, oh, you said cut funding, but not abolishing funding. How do you think you abolish an agency, man? You don't, like, keep funding it to the tune of billions of dollars. But that's, I mean, listen, people got to do what they got to do. They got time to fight on the internet. That's what we're going to do.
You got it. Thank you, Congresswoman.
Mike Johnson is getting hit on affordability. He's getting hit on ICE. He's getting humiliated by Gavin Newsom. Everywhere the little man looks, shit's getting real tough for Mike Johnson. That is the state of his speaker hip, that everywhere he looks, things are falling apart around him. And it should come as no surprise to any of us. Anyone could have predicted that Donald Trump carrying out illegal mass deportations as he gave giant tax cuts to billionaires and decided, do you know what's really fun? Corruption. Let's run up the crypto coins. Would be a winning argument. Of course it wouldn't. And so Republicans are now furious. One, that Donald Trump's administration is falling apart and Mike Johnson is unable to do anything. Two, that falling apart is going to cost them their jobs. And three, that Mike Johnson can't do his job anymore, or at least doesn't know how. And that's why they're going on the record to call him out as the House revolts against unemployed Mike. House Republicans ripped their dumb and unbelievably reckless leadership. They didn't even whip the effing bill. House Republicans are in disarray. Boy, that sounds good to say. On Tuesday night, Republican leaders face-planted when one of the bills they put to the floor went down in flames as several GOP members voted against it. 3 other pieces of legislation needed to be postponed because leadership was uncertain if the bills had the votes to pass. The failed bill, the Flexibility for Workers Education Act, would allow employees and employers, to deny overtime pay to employees who enlist in certain voluntary training programs. 6 Republicans voted against the measure, and the bill went down 215,209. On Wednesday, Politico reported that frustration with House Republican leadership is mounting among the rank-and-file Representative Brian Fitzpatrick, who is one of the Republican defectors, wondered why Speaker Mike Johnson and company are bringing bills to the floor they don't have the votes for, other than to think that they're going to strong-arm people. I think it's really a question for them as to where they're getting their math. Fitzpatrick said Republicans hold a narrow majority of 218 to 213, and the resignation of Marjorie Taylor Greene in the death of Doug LaMalfa has contributed to such a slim majority. We ultimately have a vote count problem with the limited number of members, said Majority Leader Steve Scalise, and what was not exactly a ringing endorsement of Majority Whip Tom Emmer. 2 other Republican members of the conference spoke more bluntly. They didn't even whip the effing bill. A House Republican told Politico on the condition of anonymity, "It was unbelievably dumb and unbelievably reckless," added another rep. Jeff Van Drew, who voted against the bill, said no one in leadership asked him his views about it. "Our majority is so tight, it's a problem." Van Drew said they should have whipped it. Number one, and then secondly, my bad. I should have let them know even if it was only a half hour before. So Mike Johnson is the Speaker of a House that can't pass anything. That is Mike Johnson's non-job. He has no ability to move legislation forward. He has no ability to actually govern. All he's supposed to do is obstruct, and he's failing at that too. We've seen a historic number of discharge petitions succeed, and the most obvious example is the Epstein Transparency Act. But beyond that, Lauren Underwood, one of the strongest legislators in Congress, stepped up. We're incredibly lucky to have a young progressive like Lauren Underwood leading on these issues. She forced a vote on extending Obamacare subsidies, something Mike Johnson was actively blocking, and 17 Republicans still joined Democrats to get it done. That vote happened through a discharge petition directly against Mike Johnson's will. He was calling Republicans to stop it. Donald Trump was calling them too, and it still went through. So what exactly is Mike Johnson's job? His one role is to block bills from reaching the floor, and he can't even do that. Which begs the question, what does Mike Johnson actually do? At this point, he's basically just a decoration. That's it. All he can control right now is how things look inside Congress, not what actually happens. He can't pass anything. He can't stop anything. He's essentially just waiting for the gavel to be officially taken from him. Mike Johnson doesn't have a real job anymore, and Republicans are furious about it. Even with a razor-thin majority, he can't manage his own caucus. And let's be clear, this isn't a massive House where wrangling votes would be unusually difficult. This is one of the smallest and weakest Republican majorities we've ever seen. And at this point, it barely even qualifies as a majority. Yet Mike Johnson still can't communicate with his members. He can't corral them. So again, what is his role? If Trump were held accountable for corruption and cover-ups, Democrats would benefit, and Johnson definitely wouldn't want that. But this slow, painful stalemate, it might be even worse. And honestly, I'm enjoying it. If you want to support the show, hit subscribe, leave a like, and drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.